Penguin!
Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. Oz may struggle to walk when he waddles like a penguin, but this show is certainly not struggling, and we get another great episode in episode 4, which was called Cent'anni, which I believe might mean goodbye in Italian, but don't quote me on that.
I'm going to assume it means goodbye in Italian because it wouldn't make sense at the dinner table if it wasn't that. But anyway, this show is exactly what a show should be when you watch it. 2024, I thought good shows were beyond us, I'll be honest.
Yep, I thought that the days of getting good television were gone, but you know what? The Penguin has proven me wrong, and I'm actually delighted about that. I would go as far as saying the Penguin, in terms of quality, it's been the best show that I've watched in a number of years, actually. I know we're only 4 episodes in, but I've seen enough to say that I think this will be the best show that's been released in years. And unless there's a massive drop-off in the second half, then I'm going to stand by that. Has there been good shows? Yes, but in terms of like quality where it feels almost movie-like, I don't think there's been much like The Penguin. Is there shows that maybe I've personally enjoyed a little bit more because it's maybe something I'm more interested in? Yes, but in terms of actual quality, you can't really ask for much more than what The Penguin has given us. The only bad news is we're halfway through what looks to be a 1-season show.
Yes.
So that's the most disappointing thing that I can take from it so far.
I mean, obviously, it's a mini-series, so they've got to ram the quality into 9 episodes, which gives it an advantage over a show that can go 8 episodes. Alright, that's bad, but, I mean, I say it's bad. It's still good, obviously, it's great, but, I mean, obviously, when you've only got 8 episodes to cram everything into, you would expect the mini-series to be better than a show's season 1. But that doesn't take away from the fact it's still very good.
Yeah, look, I mean, there could be a season 2, but
I don't want a season 2 or 3 if it waters down the product. If 8 episodes is what they set out to do, and that's what they want to achieve, then I think, okay.
Now, the problem is this show, well, it's not a problem, but this show is pretty much only made, supposedly, for Oz's appearance in the upcoming Batman 2 movie. So this show was just to add, basically, some more character and give a backstory for Oz. But who knows? Who's to say that after Batman 2, we can't get a season 2?
Exactly.
I think we could get a season 2 of this. I just think we're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to... If we do get a season 2, it's going to be like The Last of Us kind of waiting times where you're having to wait maybe 3 years. But then again, we've seen with HBO, you know, they aren't afraid to let you wait. And as much as I do prefer shows that can produce a new season every single year, here, if we have to wait an extra year, but it means we're actually getting good television, then I'm all happy for it. Now, let's talk about the negatives first of all, about this episode. First, it was a flashback, mainly, and you know what, flashbacks are great, but at the end of the day, I do feel like flashbacks, no matter how good a flashback episode is, I think that it sometimes does derail the pacing of the current day events. So for me, that's a little bit of a negative. And the second negative is that it didn't feature much of Oz, and I think Colin Farrell's done an amazing job in this series so far. But other than that, the episode was great. So, I mean, there's the 2 little negatives that I've got, but like I said, other than that, nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yes, I guess you could say it affected the pace a little bit, but here.
Well, I mean, when I think of flashback, The Last of Us, for me, those 2 flashback episodes, I think, killed season 1.
Oh, they did. Oh, but they were.
But at least this flashback, I think, actually offers to the main plot and the current story. I think it was good to actually get to see how Sofia got sent away, and it was good to see the betrayal from Oz. I mean, some shows have flashbacks literally just for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's like, I think in The Last of Us, which we'll stop talking about in a minute, I think it would have made more sense to actually show, what do you call the 2 guys that were in the house sleeping with each other?
Bill and Frank.
I think it would have made more sense to actually show that more in chronological order, because it just felt so disjointed to give them 1 episode. But here, I think it made more sense to introduce Sofia in the first 3 episodes, then give her this full episode pretty much to herself. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. And I actually think the way they portrayed it, you actually felt like you were in the asylum. You seen her go in normal and come out a freak.
Yeah. And I guess that's what those places will do to you. But we start the episode in current time. It's basically what we seen last time out, but
From
we got
Oz's
it.
perspective?
Yeah, last time we got it from Victor's perspective. This time we're getting it from Oz and Sofia's perspective. And Nadia basically reveals that, look, Oz is the one that killed Alberto and that he has betrayed Sofia. Oz tries to keep that quiet, but then as soon as the cat's at the bag, he realises, well, that's mine and Sofia's relationship done. I'll just try and rescue the relationship that I've got with the Savoni family.
The Savoni family.
Or the Maroni family. But that quickly spirals out of control as well. And just like when it looks like Oz is done, then Victor comes in with the car. We see the getaway and we see that Sofia is left behind. And at this point, she picks out her phone and she dials for Julian Rush, who we all know as Theo Rossi.
Yes, Theo Rossi, that's who we know him as. It was great to see more of him this episode, but as she faded away, that's when the flashbacks began.
Yeah, so we go back 10 years in time where Sofia is speaking at a charity event about her mother's mental illness, and it looks like she's running some sort of like suicide prevention thing in honour of her mother to try and prevent further suicide. She gets confronted by someone who is essentially looking like they're asking for help. Turns out they're a reporter and they're looking into it. They're almost investigating. So at this point, Sofia quickly gets away from this. Oz is with her. And we get to see some scenes with Oz as the driver. And that's originally how Oz and Sofia met. He was driving her around. Don't know if he was too happy about the job, but it certainly got him in the door with the Falcone family. So we get to see some of that, and then we see Sofia and Alberto having dinner with her dad, and she appears to be the golden child, whereas Alberto is maybe more the black sheep of the family. He's the disappointment in his father's eyes, maybe. That's fair to say.
He is the junkie, he is the alcoholic, he is all the things that tick those boxes.
Yeah, and Carmine then says he's going to break tradition, and he wants to make Sofia the new head of the family when he goes. She's going to be the heir to the throne, and she says, look, people aren't going to accept that, and he's like, nah, people know you're mine, they'll accept it alright. So I like this Carmine actor. I know that he's dead in the current timeline and we're only getting to see him really from a flashback perspective, but I mean, he looks like someone that would be sitting at the top of the family. He looks like he belongs there. I mean, we've seen Luca in charge in the current time and he just seems like a bit of a push around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas Carmine seems like he wouldn't give you any, he wouldn't take any shit.
Yeah, Luca doesn't have the sunglasses for one.
Carmine's not the guy that you would interrupt during a dinner speech.
No, rattling your teaspoon off the cup, absolutely not. And as for the decision to give it to Sofia over her brother, I mean, I think it's the correct decision. Like, I know, 2024, right, there's some other shows would be like, oh, this is woke. But seeing you actually break it down, he's an unreliable junkie. If you actually want, I think tradition should be broke, man, if you actually want to protect the future of the family.
Yeah, we get another flashback then within this flashback sequence where Sofia finds her mother who did commit suicide, and then she begins to doubt her father. She meets up with the reporter again, Summer Gleason. Summer Gleason then provides documents that there's been a pattern of women that have all died, and all of them were in some way connected to her father, planting doubts that her father is, a murderer or killer of women. And the biggest thing obviously being that was her father, was Carmine the one that killed her mum. So she kind of asks her brother what kind of stuff is her dad up to, but he doesn't really reveal too much. He says, look, we've got a good life. What dad does at work, dad does at work. So let it, just let it go essentially. But she goes, speaks to the reporter. Oz then, I guess, reveals to her father that, look, she's been speaking to this reporter, and her father, obviously disappointed. She reveals that she doesn't blame him or she doesn't suspect him, but she says that night when I found Mum, you had scratches on your hands. I'm sure there's another reason for it, but he's not playing ball. He's not interested. He sends Sofia home. Oz is driving Sofia home, and then the corrupt cop, whose name completely
eludes us.
Is it Kenny?
It might be Kenny, but you know what? Kenny, Kenneth, whatever you want to call him, Sophia's arrested. Oz is took to one side. It's all over. 6 months in Arkham Asylum rammed up your arse. And I actually think HBO, I think when it comes to flashbacks, I think they hit the nail on the head, man. I think you could clearly see that Sofia looked a lot younger in the flashbacks, and you could clearly tell with Oz as well, and hell, even her brother. I think they did a great job. I think they always do a good job.
Yeah, they've done a good job. Sofia then gets pulled over by the dirty cop, and she gets taken to prison. She gets put under arrest for the murder of all these women. So
the hangman.
That's how she gets the whole the hangman gimmick. Sitting down with her lawyer and her brother, they break the news that she's going to be sent to Arkham because her father is saying that she's mentally unwell. He said that she likes to torture and kill animals, and that pretty much everybody in the family outside of her brother has written and signed to confirm this. So the whole family is obviously turned against Sofia at this point, and she's taken away. Not a lot her brother can do, not a lot Sofia can do. And when she's placed into the Arkham Asylum, she gets like dressed down and obviously checked out, just power hose sprayed down, and I mean this alone like could kind of set you off the rails because it's a very tormenting ordeal
experience. Yeah, and it was actually the best part of the Arkham experience because I tell you what, it's downhill from here. I like the fact that they build on the fact that the only real strong relationship she's got with anyone at this stage is her brother. And who did Oz kill? Her brother.
Aye, so Oz killed the only guy
that's worth a damn. She goes into her cell after being introduced to a few doctors who look dodgy, including Tio Rossi, and we're introduced to somebody called Magpie, who apparently is a classic villain from the DC comics, but she doesn't last that long.
No, she befriends Sofia, and she's probably Sophia's only friend during this. We also get some weird looking woman with a lesbian style haircut who attacks Sofia. Sophia's complaining why wasn't she chained? Why was she able to come and basically assault me? And Julian's like, I heard you had an incident. She's like, if you mean somebody attacked me and kicked my ass, then yeah,
that is it.
I had an incident. But the following day, the same person that attacked Sofia is then chained up. Sofia is given a fork, and Sofia is watched by the guards as they want her to essentially get payback and kill this woman. We've got the Dr. Fintress who is looking on, obviously wanting her to commit this kill to prove that she is a psycho, to prove that she belongs here, to prove that she's a murderer, but she doesn't want to do it. She says, I'm not going to play this game. No, I'm not going to give you what you want, which is essentially, me killing someone. And this doctor has obviously been paid off by her father.
Yeah, he obviously has been. And it just shows you, man, prison's tough. And see when everyone's paid off against you, not in your favour, it's extremely tough. I mean, there's no two ways around it here. She is snookered from the get-go. This experience, right, would be hard enough if it wasn't all against you. But obviously, like, you see the 6 months go past, she's on the phone to her brother, Alberto. He's like, the doctor, they're corrupt, they said you're unfit for a trial, so you're getting 10 years. I mean, again, imagine doing 6 months of this, then finding out you're going to do 9 years and 6 months extra on top of it.
Well, way to jump ahead of that, but yeah, then this woman just kills herself, and Sofia watches on. We also seen Magpie being given a red-coloured drug, which we later find out is the drug that Sofia and Oz were getting into business with, the Bliss drug that I guess kind of just puts you into a complacent state, and I mean, it chills you out. It changes your entire, mind state. It's euphoric. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it almost makes you numb.
So you see this,
so Linkin Park would say numb.
I can't remember what other TV show I've seen it in, but it's like they drugged the patients, but they would do it in Jello. It kind of did look like a Jello substance, didn't it? The way it was the ready shite, but I mean, I tell you what, maybe that would be a good way of surviving this place, being off your tits.
Yeah, Sofia obviously though doesn't kill Abby. Abby kills herself, but Sofia is then dragged away. She's saying, "Why you punish me? I didn't do anything." And then she undergoes electric shock therapy for quite, I'd say probably day after day after day. But we see Julian Rush watching on, and he doesn't agree with this, but at the same time, he's not like the lead doctor. He's like the second doctor in command. So.
What if she's telling the truth?
But it doesn't really matter, the truth, because the truth is Dr. Fentress is on Carmine's payroll, so that's the only thing.
The truth is the Uncle Benjamins.
Yeah, the truth is that Fentress has been paid off here, so that's pretty much it. And then later, when she does manage to survive 6 months and she doesn't go insane and she doesn't kill anybody, she gets to speak with her brother 6 months later, and Alberto reveals that Dr. Fentress has deemed her mentally unfit to stand trial. And at this point, Sofia kind of just gives up, walks out on Alberto. Alberto says, look, tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. I'll get you to here. But, I mean, at this point, Sofia just walks off, and it looks like she's given up. Doesn't want to say goodbye, doesn't want to see her brother. 6 months, and as soon as he dropped this news, she was like, right, well, I'll see you in another 10 years.
See you in another 15 years.
She'd pretty much given up. Julian apologises. He says that he tried to stop Fentress from, doing that, but not a lot that he can do. Overruled, pretty much. And then at dinner time, Magpie is saying that, it doesn't matter. Sofia can be her friend now forever because she's here, and she doesn't have to lie to get the drug from Dr. Fentress. But Sofia then accuses Magpie of spying on her. Magpie ignores the question, and I guess Sofia took this as
a yes.
A yes that she was spying on her.
Do we think she was spying on her?
I mean, I'm not convinced, but I guess Sofia at this point is just
doesn't
giving
care.
up.
It's like, fuck
snapped, and she grabs Magpie and starts bashing Magpie's head into the table, and pretty much just kills Magpie here and then. Magpie's head's been bashed in, just blood coming out, and then she says, "I'm innocent," but at this point, I mean, you've kind of just committed murder, so.
Yeah, but
that's what they want. I guess they wanted to break her down. They wanted her to become a killer, and that's what Sofia now is.
That's the shite thing about jail, though. You can try and go through it squeaky clean, but it's more about other people than yourself. I mean, I get it, right? She didn't need to kill Magpie here. It was totally uncalled for.
Yeah, but
But previously, with the Abby person, I mean, it was almost like, you're against her. Then Abby was like, well, fuck, I'll just kill myself then.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen it a lot. Even when you look at Lockup with Sylvester Stallone, I mean, they mentally tried to break him, did everything they could psychologically to get him to actually commit a murder inside so he could be put away for life.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what's happening here. See, if you go to jail, right, I think it's hard enough just surviving and keeping clean and not dying and not getting involved with other, inmates and not doing anything to add further time to your sentence. But see, if you go to prison and, like, the top guard or whatever is against you, then I'd say it's pretty impossible.
No, I agree.
The deck would be stacked against you.
It seems to be an American thing when they show it in media, though, that like, there's no way you can get through prison clean, man. You're going to get years at it to you.
See, I think that's probably true, though. See if there's a top dog, whether it be a top doctor or a top prison guard or the commander or whatnot. See if someone is against you, I think you will struggle.
Yeah, you can see why people do not want to go to jail.
Yeah, so... but Sofia then obviously
follow the law, children.
She does 10 years. Then she wakes up and we're back in the present day. She's in Julian's office, so Julian did come and save her when she called him at the beginning of the episode. He offers her food, a change of clothes, and then it's revealed that Julian actually quit the asylum, quit the jail because he didn't agree with what was happening. He didn't like what was happening. And he was actually responsible for helping Alberto break Sofia out of there. So, I mean, I don't know how that happened exactly.
We'll probably see. I think it could be another flashback, potentially.
I don't know if we'll get another one with only 8 episodes. I mean, it could, but I think if they were going to do that, they'd have covered it in this one.
Maybe when they show Julian Rush again and the end of his character, they could maybe go doing that. But yeah, I'm not expecting a full episode. Like a 5-minute scene would probably do it justice, but... Yeah, I mean, Julian Rush, it's good to see him, but I feel like this was almost like a goodbye to him, in a way.
Well, maybe, but I mean, Sofia doesn't really have many allies. She doesn't really have, well, she doesn't, I don't think she has anybody that she can trust. She does have one person that she can perhaps use come the end of the episode, but in terms of who she can trust, I think those numbers are very small, so at this point it might just be Julian. But Julian says, look, you can have a fresh start now. you can leave.
Go to Italia.
You know, you can go back to Italy. You can escape. You can leave here. And Sofia says, yeah, maybe that's what I will do. She accuses him, though, of missing the power and saying that he was enjoying it in there, to which he says he wasn't. But then she pretty much thanks him at the end, so it just seemed like she was a little bit conflicted. I mean, I did actually fear for Julian here.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get like a knife in the throat, or shot or something. But I mean, if he truly enjoyed the power, would he ever have left? Would he have helped break her out? Unless it was just the power over her. But here he had the job before she went in. So I mean, who are we to judge him? Really?
Yeah. So, but she basically says that, look, here, it's not the world's not fair. You know,
it's
and
shit.
And I guess Julian's only, well, Alberto was the only person that she had, but now I guess she's just left with this Julian character. She then goes to the Falcone estate. They're having dinner. She walks in. Doesn't look like she was invited. Nobody pretty much wants her there. Luca begins to address the family. Sofia interrupts him. None of them are happy about this. What's your thoughts on this scene here?
I thought this scene was pretty good, but it just shows that Luca ain't worth a damn. We touched on it earlier. Carmine wouldn't exactly get interrupted here. And would any true boss let someone interrupt the dinner, like, while it was happening, and then interrupt his speech? It's one thing interrupting the potatoes and the meat, but interrupting his fucking speech. He was mid-sentence, but Carmine?
Does the fact that this is Carmine's daughter, though, buy her some...
Oh, of course, but, you know, I mean, come on.
Now, Johnny Fite was about to say something, but then...
She looked at him like, I'm going to reveal you're sleeping with Luca's wife, and so fucking sit down.
Then he just piped in and passed the meatballs. So.
Aye. Pass the meatballs, would you?
Had the meatball stuffed in his mouth. She basically berates the family, saying that the last time we were all here was 10 years ago. Yous all let me get sent down for something I didn't do. She says she was innocent. She then brought up that she probably has a lower body count than one of the guys.
Milanos.
I don't know if that was a gay joke or... I'm not quite... I didn't...
She was referring to murders, but it seems to make more sense that it would be a gay joke.
Was she referring to murders?
Yeah, because she was speaking in the context of being innocent. She's like, he's got a higher body count than me. Maybe he's not known for killing.
That's the one thing I didn't get. I didn't realize if she was like.
But who is he?
I'm not too sure, but that's.
I feel like in 2020,
Luca wasn't too happy though. That's when they kind of.
I think it's because we're speaking about the family business and murders at the table. I don't think in 2024 you get gay jokes.
Probably not.
Especially for a character that's a protagonist and a woman. I don't know. I think it was more on the fact like, oh, this guy's a driver and he's killed more than me, who's a Falcone, sort of thing.
I mean, maybe that was it. I mean, that possibly could be it. Could be talking about the.
But it would help if I knew who the guy was.
Yeah. Anyway, she basically says that, look, that's it. I'll be leaving. I'll be going to Italy. I'll be getting out of your hair, and I'll be leaving you all alone. Going to go for a new life, and then she toasts everybody. Pretty much it says that Alberto was her only, family that was there for her, and now he's no longer here. So, that's pretty much it. She then goes out with Fite's daughter, Carla Fite's daughter. Gia leads her into the greenhouse, offers her cake. I thought she was going to kidnap her here.
Yes, I didn't expect the next thing to happen. I was expecting a kidnapping to Italy or something, but...
Turns out she ain't kidnapping her. She just wants to have a little sleepover in the greenhouse, because that's what she used to do with her brother Alberto. But it's not just that she wants to remember good times that she used to have with her brother. She's actually got this young girl at the house, because we see the next morning when she wakes up, she takes something out of her bag, she walks into the mansion, and it turns out she has killed everyone with carbon monoxide poisoning. Literally, it's just taken everybody out. All the top men, all the bodyguards, all the wives, they're all dead. But there is one person still alive, and that is Johnny Fite. I believe that she was in his room smoking a cigarette the night before, and she left the window ajar. Now, it would have been a bit awkward if he closed his window before he went to bed.
It would be.
But the window was open. She lifts his gun, points the gun at him, wakes him up and says, Johnny, stick some pants on, we've got to talk.
Put some trousers on, boy. But here, our plan would have been out the window if everyone else decided to open my window.
Yeah, but
they didn't.
Lucky for her, the windows remain closed, and yeah, that's it. So Johnny Feety, I'm assuming she's going to use him to try and take down Oz. Will we see more Julian Rush? I hope so.
Is Johnny Feety not going to be pissed? Like, everybody in the house died but him. And the kid, obviously, but...
True, but I mean, he's held at gunpoint. Like,
he is held at gunpoint, but I feel like the leverage with him sleeping with Lucas' wife, well, it's gone now. Everyone else is dead.
True, that's very true.
Maybe he feel like he had nothing to live for and just lunge at her in his Walter Whiteys.
Yeah, and it's not even like she kept the wife... She didn't even keep the wife alive, so it's not like he can be with her now. Anyway, strange one, but I'm sure he'll just be happy not to be dead. Yeah. But we all know that Johnny Feety doesn't like Oz, so maybe he'll be up for this.
Aye.
Maybe he'll be enjoying this little partnership to try and take down Oz, but I'm assuming that's the direction that we're going to go. Anyway, time to rate the episode. I liked how it wasn't like a full flashback episode. I liked how it started in current time, then we got like a really large flashback portion, which I thought was fantastic for the episode. But I like how it ended with current time, setting it up perfectly for, episode 5. So for me, I think I'd done a great job. But it is time to rate it out of 10. So far, this has been very consistent. Gave episode 1 a 7, episode 2 an 8. I gave episode 3 a 9. What are you giving this one?
It's not going to be a 10. I'll give it a 9 as well. I thought this was...
I haven't gave it a 9 yet, but...
Well, I say I'm giving it a 9, so it could be an 8.5. It could be a 9. It could be an 8. Who knows? But I think it could be the first 0.5. But I'll go with a 9, right? I think this show is just getting better and better. But when you're hitting 9s, to get better, you need a perfect 10. Is this show got a perfect 10 in it? I think so.
I think so, definitely.
I think it will come in the finale. But I wouldn't be surprised if episode 5 hit it.
Yeah, I'm going to get a 9 as well. A great episode. I do think flashbacks kind of derail. I love flashbacks, but I think flashbacks are done best when they...
It's later seasons?
Not even necessarily that. I just think they're better done in small amounts. Like, I think a flashback is better. I think more frequent flashbacks, but shorter in length, work, rather than full flashback episodes. I just think sometimes flashback episodes can derail the pacing, especially when it's a limited series like this. 8 episodes, and to dedicate one episode pretty much to a flashback is a lot. Like I said, we talked about The Last of Us at the beginning. To have a 9 episode season 1 and to use 2 of these episodes for flashbacks, especially the first one, that played no factor into the story, was insane. But
maybe Milanos had those 2 in his body count.
At least this flashback actually added to the overall story, and it allowed you to see what happened to Sofia and why she didn't trust Oz in the first place, and there's even more bad blood there now because she found out that he killed Alberto. So, and honestly, man, I do think the whole asylum sequence is probably one, if not the best parts of this episode. So, yeah, perfect. I think if we could have got more Oz, it might have been a 10.
Yeah, I think that, but again, I don't want him just forced in for the sake of it. I feel like this was her episode, and damn, she owned this episode. And that is where we're going to leave it. Episode 4, we're halfway through. I tell you what, when we first did the trailer for this, I didn't expect this.
No, I watched the trailer and I thought, man, it looks alright.
Yeah.
It looks alright. Alright to me is like a 5 or a 6.
It just shows you when you broaden your horizons, you can find something.
Aye, I've seen a lot of people throw out Emmys and stuff like that, Emmy talk. I tell you what, I mean, I'd say this is more deserving than an Emmy than any other show I've seen in a long time.
But see Emmy talks, man. But
this kind of acting is Emmy talk.
No, it is, but I think Emmys in 2024 are relevant because they dish it to the trendsetter, not what's actually fucking good.
No, I agree, but here, if this show won an Emmy or if these actors won an Emmy, then... And you know what, also, I kind of thought, I'll be honest, I thought after the first episode, or maybe the first 2 episodes, I kind of thought this show was just going to be relying on Colin Farrell. I thought it was going to be like, if Oz isn't in this, then it's not going to be great. But unlike The Sopranos, I actually feel like this isn't just relying on one character.
Yes.
Which I think The Sopranos heavily relies on Tony.
But you would argue, though, for a mini-series, it wouldn't really be a problem if it relied on one character.
No,
for a show that goes 6 seasons, you'd think, right, alright, we would rely on other characters.
Yeah, but my point is, like, this, I think, well, this is the highest rating, it's joint highest we've given it. From what I've seen, a lot of the reviews are saying this is the best episode so far, and it's the one that, featured Oz the least.
Yep.
So, just goes to show you that this show's still producing great stuff without the main character, so.
Yeah, it would take one of the biggest nosedives ever, like, for the final the final half to be dragging it down.
And it's almost like the first 4 episodes have set up the last 4.
Yeah, I don't see how the show ends badly, put it that way. I mean, it would be an almighty drop-off. I mean, we've gave it a 7 and 8 and 2 9s. That's like an average rating of, like, what, 8.25, something like that?
Yep.
I just don't see how we go for, like, an average rating of 8.25 to, like, a 5. As we said, I think it's got 10s. It's a mini-series. They need to wrap it up. They need to wrap it up for a movie coming out. They're going to go all out.
They are, but here, at this point, if they want to bring it back for season 2 after Batman 2, I'm all for it. Anyway, guys, 9 out of 10. We'll catch you in the next one. A few more Theory videos to come as well. But let us know your thoughts and let us know your rating down below. Till next time, peace.